Y'all don't know what y'all even saying. Y'all just be saying what I'm saying. What's the point of what I'm saying? So I'm finna go over some of this stuff that I laid out in the Out of the Darkness book. It don't matter if you got it. I'm still about to, to go through it. So don't worry about it. Even if you don't have it, it's all love. Because the information is what's important and it's powerful anyway. Yeah, I don't know. They don't know what they're doing. Nobody don't know what they're doing. They just talking. What are we doing? It's too much to be done right now. Like, people don't feel that sun. Did I tell y'all? That sun gonna be on folks' ass as soon as that bitch start coming out. It's gonna be on folks' ass, even heavier than it was last year. Did I say that? Bro, folks can't even stand their ass out there for 2 seconds. The sun is eating folks alive from inside out. You know what I'm saying? If you want the book, I pinned it right there. Play for Change. It's Cash App. Just send a donation to the Cash App, whatever you want to send. Right? So yeah, that sun is getting heavier. The frequency is getting heavier. I was just talking to my family, explaining to them that it's not just the heat, it's the information. Okay, so when you feeling something heat, if you rub your hands together, you feeling something heating up, it's because there's some information coming. You'll turn it off for me. It's because there's some information coming through. You feel what I'm saying? So it's frequency. Something is speeding up. So remember, time is speeding up. Remember I told you, okay, if time is speeding up, then that means something else is heating up. Because your consciousness and space and time, all these things are one. If the universe is mental, the all is mind. Some of the Hermetic principles that some of y'all may have learned, or thought and matter and being non-distinguishable or indistinguishable, wherever you learned these things from, you can look at all those facts and pull them all together and say, well, then that means if something is speeding up in my perception or my observation of what I call time, which is basically the cycles or the atoms and how they move it in motion, which is why they got things like atomic time clocks and things like that. Right? Well, then that means that something is heating up also. So the realm that you're in, just based off of certain smaller theories like time dilation, which I break down in the books, is if the realm that you're in is speeding up and moving faster, and you're going through a pole shift right now, which means that the North and the South Pole are literally moving around. What you call the magnetic places of your planet are moving around. It happens every 500,000 years. Now we overdue. They was explaining that we're overdue for it because it's over 700,000 years since the last one that took place. Okay, well, if those poles are shifting, then guess what's happening? What's happening is the magnetosphere isn't as strong as it would have been if those poles were set in place. And if that magnetosphere isn't as strong, along with the deterioration of what they call in the ozone layer, then that means that the CMEs or the coronal mass ejections, the charged particles that are coming from the sun, Shem, that they're reaching your planet. You understand? And they're causing more things to change. You understand? Because normally they wouldn't be interacting with the surface how they would be if there was no magnetosphere or if there's a deteriorated magnetosphere. You understand? So because there's a deteriorated magnetosphere, or because that magnetosphere is becoming weaker, really, all right, rather than just deteriorating, it's becoming weaker because those magnets or magnetic poles are moving around. Well, then things are happening inside of your planet that would not have been happening without that shift of the poles, which means that because of time dilation theory, when they're speaking on certain things, like every time you enter into a different type of planetary atmosphere, or just an atmosphere of a dimension period or observation point period, things called time and space, all that begins to shift. When you go into the dream state, your time perspective shifts. All right. Time it speeds faster in the dream world than it does out here in what we call the real world. Okay. So then something is changing about the core then. Because if time is speeding up per your perception in the earth plane, where it was operating off of certain types of space and gravity and all these other principles that happen to create this realm and hold this realm together, it holds the atoms together, all these different things, these particles, electromagnetism is being held together by, you understand? Okay, well then that means that the core is shifting also. And I told people to watch out for that. It was also something that the Hopi told people to watch out for. So now the scientists are telling you the core is shifting. As a matter of fact, at one point it stopped. The core had stopped for a second because it was always in motion. And not only did it stop, it started to reverse its motion. You understand? Which means that the magma was being affected. The gravitational pull that affects that magma was being affected. And it was happening from the inside of the core on out, which means that there is something that's taking place in your realm altogether. This realm is speeding up. And if it's speeding up, then the rotation is going to change. The pathway of the rotation is going to change, which means that your planet could literally be spinning backwards, and they're not going to tell you that. And they're going to accommodate for that alteration of the rotation by something that they call a leap second. okay, which they have to make sure that they're maintaining the UTC, the Universal Time Clock, if you just want to say it like that, where most of these countries are on one accord about how they're going to dock these time zones, but they have to maintain it in a certain way. So they say, okay, we're going to hold back with these daylight savings. We're going to move this over here. We're going to put this second over here, and we're going to prepare for the speeding up of this planet Earth. So is anything that I'm saying made up? No, the scientists are putting it out, but we're not focused on that. We're focused on all these other things, other distractions that they putting out for people to pay attention to. You understand? So if the conscious community isn't pulling people's attention to the science of what's happening around them, then the conscious community leaders, these people who are stepping out like they are leaders and these internet woke niggas out there, then they're part of the distraction too. Because people have to understand what's happening around them. That's what real awareness is. And if they don't understand what's really happening around them, then those people who are being led by those people will ultimately end up asleep also. You understand? So look at it. Somebody said time is a fairy tale, but you just mentioned it. You said time is a fairy tale. You mentioned, he said time. Well, what is time? And if time is a fairy tale, well, then how is it a fairy tale? You understand? These are things that you have to fully understand. That's why I tell people it takes time for you to even say statements like that. It took time for that. Before the scientists told you what time was. We documented cycles and lunations and others way before modern day science. We understand that time has something to do with the mentality or the conscious of the being. So if you have a certain mental capacity, then you can understand time on a whole different level. You have precogs. You have people who have deja vu. You got different things that happen in your consciousness that's not happening in an average person's consciousness. Allows for you to look at time differently. Some people, they say when time flies when you're having fun. Okay, so if you treat this realm like, you know what I'm saying, an event altogether as something to enjoy in the present, in the now, then it's speeding up, but not speeding up in a way that's leaving you and causing you to miss something. No, it's speeding up in a way that you're elated. You're not late, but you're elated about your existence here. So it doesn't feel like it's a task to live. No matter what you're doing, it won't feel that way. It don't feel like something is dragging. You understand? So because time is speeding up, then this is a time period where we have to say what? That there's going to be a great and dreadful day coming. And that's great for some people and it's dreadful for other people. So if you're in this time period and you're looking at what's happening right here on earth, great. If you're looking at it as great, well, then you're of the ones who we said this is going to be a great time, but you're going to be enjoying this shift. Other people are going to dread this shift because they're too heavy. You understand? So it's great and dreadful. This day in time, or what we call yom. All right. This day in time, or this yom in time, is dreadful. Or this yom in this world, or we call this world yom, which olam yom. Okay. This world or eon day, or this day in this eon is dreadful for a lot of people because they don't understand what's happening. So it needs to be clear. Something is shifting not only with your planet inside of the planet, on the planet, or in what we call the surface of the planet. The atmosphere is changing. You can't forget that Bill Gates and them were fighting for that window that I explained to you about. The reason why Bill Gates shows up in your realm as Bill Gates, I tell you, all of it is readable. It's a game, remember? Because remember, like I broke down in the book, NPCs, the word that people are using now, come from a movie, right? Well, it was there before the movie, but people are getting it from a movie Free Guy. That's where they're really getting it from. Where this artificial intelligence being, which human beings are, becomes more sentient and more conscious or woke to what's going on around them and realizing that they were a part of a program. And that most of the people that they were around day in and day out were what they call NPCs. You understand? These NPCs will not understand what's happening. But the free guy, or the one who gets free or pulls away from the gravity of the world that's passing away, you will become more conscious. You understand? And you have to understand that consciousness doesn't stop. You don't just learn something about being woke and now you're woke. No, you're going to have to constantly be moving toward that conscious. You understand? So for people to really wake up, they got to understand that these changes are happening and they got to know why and they have to know what does it have to do with them. Okay, the earth is the rotation of the earth is speeding up. Okay, they stopped the daylight savings. Okay, they added leap seconds every time. Okay, they've been doing that since 1972. What do these things mean? What is an atomic clock? What is an atomic time clock? What are these things charted for? Why did they put out the movie Knowing 2009? What did the research centers that were dealing with the corona mass ejections put out in 2009? What are they concerned about right now? And they're concerned about the corona. That's what all of this is about. That's what shut your world down. That's how they put out that Uriah or Yara spell, which was the fear spell. okay, which the spell was really the COVID spell, but I called it the fear spell so that, because you got to, when I'm posting certain things, the fact checkers are about to start coming back out because they need more electricity, they need more voltage, so you're about to start seeing the return of the fact checkers, mark my words, because them fact checkers are put in place to make sure, that in fact, I called it, and now they about to literally run all that back. Now remember, this is back in, this might have been May. This might have been May of, I gotta check. When the hell I did this? What was it specifically? It might have been May. No, it was May 13th. Right? So yeah, I called it. Now they talking about, it's gonna be another COVID or it's gonna make a return. I told you, they need it. I called it for you. Before they did it, I said they're gonna need more electricity, which is your vote. They're gonna need your votes again. They're gonna need your voltage, so they're gonna be pulling out these same stops that they already pulled out before. Watch. I played the game for you and showed you how I wrote. I'm posting certain things. The fact checkers are about to start coming back out. That's what all of this is about. That's what shut your world down. That's how they put out that Uriah or Yara spell, which was the fear spell. Okay, which the spell was really the COVID spell, but I called it the fear spell so that, because you got to, when I'm posting certain things, the fact checkers are about to start coming back out because they need more electricity, they need more voltage, so you're about to start seeing the return of the fact checkers, mark my words, because them fact checkers are put in place to make sure, that in fact, everybody still playing checkers and not chess. They don't want you to see the real game. So when them fact checkers make their return, know that it's not just the politics that they're going to be putting out in front, because they got to make sure that they lead people back to the other side of the darkness again. Their whole thing is to buy themselves more time, which is Corona. I called it. Them folk were not done with COVID. They're going to keep trying to play the game, especially as you approach the year 2024. And here they come confirming what I told you. That's what all of this is about. So remember, I was talking about Bill Gates. Bill Gates. The one who's Bill means William, all right? William, when people say, I don't know why they do that, but when you say William, people abbreviate that to be Bill. I don't know why they do it, but that's what it is. So William becomes Wilhelm, all right? And that is a word that is saying to protect something, a helmet, a guard of some sort, and his name ends with gate, okay? Wilhelm Gate. But what gate was he protecting? The gate of Babylon, which is why he was Bill Gates, to protect the gate of the God. And what God was that? The God of Set or Satuk. How is that possible? Because Bab and Set are the same people. So Babylon or Bab-Elon or Babylon becomes the word what? Gate of God. And that God is Bab, which is Set. So what world does Set belong to? It's the world of darkness. Mm-hmm. And that world of darkness is to be protected by Bill Gates. So what are they still doing what you forgot they were doing, because they're not talking about it? They're solo geoengineering your atmosphere as we speak. Mm-hmm. People were talking about the chemtrails. I said, look, they put all the information out about the chemtrails. They call them contrails in the scientific community. They say chemtrails is a conspiracy. Yep. But then in the scientific community, they refer to them as contrails. And the project is solo geoengineering that was overseen by Bill Gates and still being overseen by Bill Gates to block out the sun. Mm-hmm. And they're going to war with the sun. Who would go to war with the sun? Set. And there's another person that they're expecting to show up by the year 2030. Apophis. And that is a being by the name of Apophis. Mm-hmm. And they call him Apophis in the scientific community. The asteroid is called Apophis. Go look him up. And Apophis is another name for Apep. And Apep comes when it's time to swallow the sun. Mm-hmm. That's what his job is, to swallow the sun. We wrote about him in Ancient Kemet. Ancient Egyptian stories, go look it up. That's the serpent. So when that serpent shows up to swallow the sun, what is it about? It's to make sure that the realm that was being yielded by people like Tahuti and Tefnut, all these other people who were bringing on a new world, the new world that had to consist of order, and News World, which I break down in this book also, we'll get into it in a second, okay? They're trying to stop that, reverse it. And they want to reverse it back into the age of darkness, or AD. Anno Domini becomes the dominion that we had set up for Anu, falls, and they want to bring back their Babylon, which their world of confusion, because Babylon means confusion. That's what all of this is about. They knew the COVID shit was all of it's been a program, and you still under that program. Don't think that just because they said, these things have been lifted up. No, COVID is still rolling out as a program. Come on. All right. They only shifted certain pieces of it, but that program is still rolling out. You understand? And what is that program all about? It's about time. And if it's about time, then that means that there's something to do with your consciousness because time is relative.
Come on.
You understand? Now, the God of time is called Chronos or Chron in Greek. Corona. All right? Now, what weapon was used to defeat Chronos? It was a name, a being by the name of Biden. It was a weapon called Bident.
Listen.
You understand? So what are they trying to do? They're using that administration to preach what is left of their ghost spell to put people back to sleep. You understand? Now, what is the trumpet called Bident? He calls him Sleepy Joe. Sleepy. You understand? Keeping people in a sleep state. The Bident, go look up the Bident, is used to defeat that time or that being called Coronas. All right, which was the father of all the gods, Father Time. All right, so it's all about your observation and your consciousness. So people are going to have to start acting like they understand it. And they're going to have to realize, no, we don't understand what's going on. Because there's something genetically happening with you when you out in that sun. There's something genetically happening. And they know that that was going to happen, which is why they wanted people inside, stay home, stay social distance. It didn't work how they thought it was going to work. Because there was a war taking place even then. You understand? So now they got to form the trust and believe. They haven't stopped. They have to formulate another plan that by the solstice, they got to get you in another state of fear.
Did I not tell you? Did I listen? Listen. All right. You cannot call yourself. I ain't going to go into it. How about this? When someone is identified to be a prophet or somebody who can speak things before they happen, when that person says something is going to happen and they give you a time frame for when it will happen, all right, if what this person said was going to happen doesn't happen by that time frame, that's a false prophet. That they're not in tune how they trying to kick it, all that Akasha records and God spoke to me and the spirits, all this shit is bullshit. A lot of times they just got a good idea. They hope that it lands, like gambling with the general events. But I just said to you that by the summer solstice, they would have rolled out another plan, all right, for the same thing, which was the COVID, to get you back into a state of fear. Now, you see more people coming out say, what? I just saw a few people within the last week say they had COVID. They were in the hospital. Somebody said they had COVID. You understand? Now, we right here at the end of the summer solstice, okay, where what happened? Walker just got a day in Atlanta that was designated for her at the end of the solstice, all right, to say the last day of the summer solstice. Are you walking with me? Because didn't I give you the whole walk of what summer was going to be? Remember the Childish movie and everything I was explaining to you and the fast that we did? And the first time we started the fast was when they started to figure out that there was some X flares and there was some geo-effective CMEs that were starting to spawn and all this other stuff. The solar activity picked up on the day that we started doing the fast. Didn't I explain that to you? Now, I couldn't have predicted that. The scientists didn't even know that this was going to happen. How did I know to tell you that we were going to start doing a mass fast, all right, or a collective fast on May 17th? Okay. And after that started happening, what started to explode? A song exploded of mine. It was called Source. If you're with me, right? And the song Source started to go viral. And it's got, of all my music, the song Source got more plays than all my music put together, right? Went way up, I think like 300,000 now views somewhere in the ballpark, right? And everybody's been hearing the song. Some people heard the song, don't even know who I am. And they like this. I've heard people playing the song. They don't know it's my song. Right? But the song Source was speaking in terms of what? That same in the name of Allah or Bismillah Rahman Rahim, right? And also speaking in terms of the same source that the conscious community speaks about. Also speaking in terms of the same source that Pharaoh Akhenaten spoke about, which was what? All tying you back to the Lord, where even in the Quran they said, face your Lord, and they were talking about the sun. And I kept speaking about the sun, right? And then what did the scientists come out and say? Well, we're experiencing something called fasts. Listen, they even put it in quotation. They said fast solar winds. They came up with a new name for it, fast solar winds, right? They said something else is called source confusion. You remember there was source confusion. If you've been with me, I've been breaking these stuff down as we walk. Source confusion was one of the things they put out about the sun activity. And another ones they said it was experiencing something called fast solar winds. All right. And there were a lot of geo-effective CMEs that were charging up over the course of the last 3 months. You understand? So if people really pay attention to it, I've been laying it down and explaining it to you, and then watch. Now they coming back with COVID. Okay, she's gonna see as we're entering into the cold season. It's right on time. They're gonna start running out that program again, and they're gonna start telling people they have it again. They're gonna start asking that people put on the mask again. They're gonna start telling people that they gotta be cautious again. Make sure you wash your hands again. Stay 6 feet apart again. They're gonna say these. There's only different ways they're gonna present it, but they're gonna say that there's gonna be something else that's dangerous about it, right? To get people into the state of fear again. All right. Why is this important? It's the same thing where I told you in my book, How to Fight COVID and Win. What did I say? I said, when you're in the state of stress, it's hard for your body to fight off disease. When you're in a state of stress, it's hard for your body to fight off ailment. All right. Why? Because after you go into that state of stress, when your sympathetic nervous system goes into overshot and you say, yo, I need to survive, you start telling your body to get active as if there's real danger. And if there's no real danger, then what tends to happen is, first of all, because your sympathetic nervous system is active, your digestive system, your lymphatic system, all these different systems that will be using that energy, that oxygen, all of the different yields that come from your brain, being able to be on point about what situation is in, your body, your immune system won't be able to function. Because it's going to shut down. Because in all actuality, if you were really in danger, you don't need all of the blood to be rushing to and the oxygen to be rushing to your immune system. You don't need to be trying to digest. Your digestive system will shut down. All these different things will use less energy so that you can really survive. Meaning, if somebody were to break into somebody's house and threaten them with weapons, or if you were in a car accident and you got to get out of a car real fast, your body says, yo, wake up, move your legs, move your arms. So it sends the blood to your legs. It sends the blood to your arms. You get to rushing. You get this adrenaline rush. And you say, I have to get out of the situation that I'm in. Now, how do you know these motherfuckers know that? And they tried to get people to literally commit suicide. Okay, where a lot of people were going to the hospitals to die. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of people were going to the hospitals to die. Or people stayed at their house, isolated themselves, or their family isolated them, and they died by themselves. How you know these devils knew that? Because they came out with something, it was a spell word. They said asymptomatic. They said that there was a chance that you had this and you didn't know you had it, you would be asymptomatic. So people were walking around in a state of paranoia, which I call media-induced paranoia. People were walking around in a state of paranoia in the cold season. You try to figure out why it seemed like everybody was sick and then why it seemed like everybody was dying. Well, for one, everybody was sick. And for two, everybody was dying. There was a lot of people that were passing away and a lot of people were sick. But then do you really think it was that much of a coincidence that people were sick during the cold season? Do you really think that right now, as I'm speaking, I feel my windows open. I feel a breeze coming. So you can trust and believe somebody has pneumonia right now. All right. Somebody's going through seasonal allergies right now. As an asthmatic myself, I know that as soon as them seasons start changing, okay, it could be harder for you to breathe because your body's having to readjust to the atmosphere. All of that. It's like this is when they came and hit you with it. So I'm telling you now, be cautious because you're going to go into this season. It's not like I'm trying to play prophet. It's just I already told you this back in May because this video came out, or this live I did back in May. Right? So I told you back in May, they not done. They're going to run out another program. But why would I know that? How could I know that? It's not that I'm some spiritually inclined person. That's not that I am, but that's not all it is to it. When you really can read the game, you start being able to see, like, if you ever played with like master chess players or watch master chess players, or you ever play a chess match with like an elder who a lot of times they don't even have to look at the board. Some of them can just tell you what piece to move and know which. I don't know if y'all been around them type of elders, or even they put it in movies and stuff like that to show you that there's people that can do that. There really are master chess players who can, with the whole thing about chess is being moves and moves and moves ahead of the next person. All right. And moves and moves and moves ahead of the next move you're about to make. So first of all, you look at it like this. Well, they put all this attention on one person called Trump, right? From 2016 to the year 2020, Trump, the one who came out and said, this is their new hoax, right? And I'm even telling people now, especially those of you who got a platform, all of you who are coming out like you're some leaders and teachers and stuff, you better be cautious because if you come out and run with the Trump program, if you run with the go against the COVID program, if you run with that, if you make your videos about that, they will shut you down. And they'll shut you down faster this time than they did last time because at first they were having to figure out which program they were going to run to shut these people down, which is why they employ the fact checkers to look for certain key points that people are going to be bringing up. That's why they employ different aspects like, okay, you had QAnon. All right. Well, a lot of people think QAnon was just supposed to be going against. after a while, QAnon became infiltrated, so they were control opposition. So they had people saying, so like, got Epstein's list and Beyonce and Jay-Z and all these other people on the list, and they all get arrested and all this other. So people started running with that narrative, and then when that happened, because of how loud that narrative got, all right, and people weren't paying attention to the fact that it was controlled. They did that on purpose. What they started doing, they started coming for everybody accounts who was speaking on that. Why? Because it's not that what was being taught about it or said about it was false. It's that when you infiltrate something like that, you can make it be, this is reverse psychology. You can make it be that the information is put out there. Yeah, people can say it, but then you shut those people down for conspiracy. And then the next time somebody pulls that up, I'll tell you one of the situations that happened. One of the situations that happened, it was this female who was supposed to be on the run. All right. And she was on the run trying to escape the ones who had kept her trapped, and she was being trafficked and all this other stuff. And, she was supposed to be running away, and she's exposing all these people, exposing Beyonce, exposing Jay-Z, exposing all these people. And when I looked at it, I said something, after a while, I said something not right. And you got to be cautious about that, because you come out here and just say that, then a lot of people get to attacking you and you're not supporting black women. I said something's not right. So even my sister Angela Stanton was trying to help the sister say, well, what can I do? And then she started to come at Angela Stanton and say that, she was one of the ones who was the problem and all this other stuff. And I told Angela, I said, something wrong with this. And I started looking deeper into it. I said, they putting this show on because if you can do it like that, you can control the narrative. Where everything that she was saying, I said, that ain't nothing but the same list thing that they've been talking about from QAnon. So they had everybody focused on that. Everybody focused on Jeffrey Epstein, all this other stuff. Nobody's looking at their mayors. Nobody's looking at their governors. Nobody's looking at everybody who would be really charged. Nobody's looking at the rappers in Atlanta. Nobody's looking at the real traffickers. Everybody's looking at this Epstein character, right? And this list of untouchables. Like, you're never going to get next to Beyonce, and she ain't never going to be, her PR ain't never going to tell her to come out and clear up none of these rumors. You're never going to get next to Jay-Z. They're never going to be told to come out and clear up none of these rumors. So you get to call all these names, but you don't deal with the fact that the police, sheriff, and all these people, they're the ones who's doing it. You don't deal with that. You know what I'm saying? It's all a game. That's why I told you, there is no Amber Alert. Other than the fact that you need to be alert that the Amber Light runs this whole shit. And it's the Amber Light who's associated with the same dragon that everybody trying to act like doesn't exist, which is the red dragon, which is why I told you there should be no reason why you as citizens should ever get a message from Amber Alert. There should be no reason, because with all of the technology that they have to this day, where they can watch people selling their drugs and stuff like that, doing the things they're doing in their community, they know how to find Saddam Hussein hiding 30,000 up under the ground and shit. They know to find niggas is trying to escape the planet. They can do all of that. They can't find one child that goes missing. And they even can tell you, we got the license plate, we got the make and the model of the car, we know the nigga who driving it. We just want to see if you doing anything today. Could you stop him for us? You understand? It's an illusion. Amber Alert. All right, Amber Light, it's an illusion. They know that they can stop any drop moving through any city at any given time. Because I've asked you the question: if one of the president's daughters got kidnapped, you think they're gonna send you the Amber Alert? If an important person, the so-called important person child went missing, you think they're gonna send you the message, or is the whole military gonna shut 285 down, all of that, until they get to that car that they already able to describe to you? So they can describe it to you and send it to your phone, but them satellites can't find it. When I know right now, as I'm speaking, they don't even have to see an image of myself. They can detect the position and how my voice is bouncing off the walls to say he's sitting this way, facing that window. They can use the thermal readings that they have, the thermographs they have, that they can say, okay, we can look at him right now because this nigga has a fever of 98. They can do all of that with the technology from thousands of miles away from me. And they can't find a child that they're literally describing for you. They can't find a vehicle that's being described. It's all games. It's all a lie. So when you see, okay, QAnon, that wasn't nothing but the ruler in disguise. Because if you say QAnon, that's canon. And QAnon is canon. Okay, if QAnon is canon, are you with me? Then something is being hidden here, because canon means ruler. And who is the ruler that you will be speaking about? The same ruler, because it was the same story, the same conversation they were having, meaning that there was a basis where a lot of people who associated themselves with the group QAnon or Q, all right, thought that they were putting people on. They really did think that they were supporting something that was in a movement that said, we're going to finally break up all of these pedophile rings and others. They really did think so. A lot of people thought they were supporting something real, but it had been infiltrated long ago. The same way the conscious community has been infiltrated long ago. The government's way smarter than what you think, because that ruler is Molech and that ruler is Baal. And Baal is the ones who deal with the children. They come and take the children. You see them holding the children in the images. And then you think it's a coincidence that it's Baal or Nsiaga Baal or the king is Baal or Baal Nsiaga that comes out. The same thing I've been teaching. Niggas wanted to jump on the wave of it. It was them that came out with the ad, all right, where they was marketing the children in a sexual manner. And then I told you, watch. I said, this is how you know they got them. The people didn't respond. The people didn't revolt. The people didn't say, we need to not only stop wearing Balenciaga, we need to find out, are those children safe? You know, who are the handlers? Are they handlers? Who are the names of the people behind the photo shoot? We need to get all this figured out. We need to bust they party up. They were more concerned about Ye having on a shirt that said White Lives Matter than they were about children being sexualized. That's how you know. They run tests to see if they got you. So what does all of this tie around to? All of this ties around to the fact that it's a game being played. COVID is a game. And everything associated with that game is, okay, if there's any type of threat that can rise up, that we can categorize as a threat easily, they're going to shut it down. So for all of you people who have the major platforms, be cautious about what you go out against. Because a lot of times, if you realize that this is the safe grounds of it, you try to go out against LGBT, and what you'll realize, that's a waste of time. If you really know what's going on right here in this day and time, going up against LGBT as a group of people is a waste of time, because a lot of people who are part of that life don't even agree with what some of these trans and these drags and all these other people are doing. But you grouping them all in one, and you going up against LGBT like a business goes up against a business, instead of dealing with the fact that we won't allow the children to be sexualized, period. You ain't going to say that it's a homos or hetero situation. You say, period. Sexualization of children is where you draw the line. You understand? But you don't want to say that's where you draw the line. You want to say that's where you draw the line when it comes to the LGBT. You're supposed to be saying all of it is cut out. You feel what I'm saying? You don't say no children should be sexualized at all. You feel what I'm saying? So, okay, then there should be no reason to go up against the LGBT, because what they doing is what they're doing. All right? You should have enough motion with what you're doing that it actually involves them, whatever they want to call themselves. Them same people, what you think that, listen, the homosexual people, the heterosexual people, the whatever, the cisgenders and the whatever, I can't remember half the shit they be saying. I'm not trying to be funny. But whatever the shit niggas be calling it, everybody has to deal with whatever reality your government finna roll out. All right? Unless you coming with your own reality, which is a whole different thing. That's why I'm doing my best to tell people this is all you got to do is simple. All you have to do is write your own contract up. You know, you don't have to sign theirs. You just write your own contract up, write up your own terms, write up your own conditions, write up your own miscellaneous, write up your own liabilities, write up your own contract, and overstand contract. So that when you say what, matter of fact, you might want to say it's a protract instead of a contract, because that's the whole problem. That the contract is that tract, which is the time period. Go look it up. A tract is a time period, a certain amount of designated time. And a con is to do something in a negative way. If I con somebody, are you with me? Then that means that they've been done a disservice. So instead of writing up a contract, write up a protract, all right, and get in your protractor and ride away from this realm of illusion, because they're going to roll it out. You can count on that. It's just that, are you going to have the green light to be able to combat it? And not everybody understands that, but that's why I'm explaining it. Okay, so as you get to the cold season, prepare your body, prepare your mind, prepare yourself. Notice I'm not mystifying anything. If I was trying to mystify it, I would have just told you it's an evil spirit in COVID. No, I told you about the sympathetic nervous system. I can even tell you, look, it's just simple. When we taught you how to breathe, or we say woosah, or go into the meditative state, and all of that is to say to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is right there. They buddies, they cousins, but one does one job, one does the other job. You understand? So you have your beta receptors, your alpha receptors. One is saying, yo, we're going to restrict the blood flow. Another saying, yo, you good, you can go straight through. You feel what I'm saying? But you need to know which one is what. So I tell you, study the nervous system, study your neuroscience, because that's what's going to help you figure out what's going on with what you call this so-called conscious ascension. If you don't know that, then you won't pick up on the games. So the reason why I knew I can call it like that is because they wanted Trump to be the enemy. Remember, they even would call Trump onto these interviews, right? CNN, they would interview him, and they would ask him the same questions over and over again, if you paid attention to that, right? And he would even try to bring your attention to it. He'll say, I get all the hard questions. He said, Joe Biden, he don't get no hard questions. He get how you doing today. He'll say, what are your plans for the future? They asked him immediately. As soon as he get in there, he barely sat in he can't even get his ass in the seat. You know what I'm saying? Before he even sit down, they're like, all right, so you condemn white supremacy? Nigga said, didn't y'all ask me this already? Y'all done asked me this every interview this man went on. I bet you if I found I can make a compilation, all right, of at least 700 times that they asked this man, so you condemn white supremacy? So you condemn white supremacy? So you condemn white supremacy? And he said, I said it this time. I said it another time. I said it 1,000 times. I condemn white supremacy. Yes. Now, if somebody keep asking you the same shit over and over again, ain't you gonna get annoyed? So then as soon as he started getting annoyed, they say, see, he's agitated. That's the signs of a racist. That's the sign of a white supremacist. No, he's agitated, sign of agitated. That's what it is. It's like he asked you, how was your day? You say, it was good. Next 30 minutes, say, how was your day? Yeah, it was good. It was good. You asked me that, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, my bad. 5 minutes passed. How was your day? 30 seconds, how was your day? You're going to get agitated and say, what is the meaning of this? So he started to do it. They call him, and he even would say, look, I was prepared for that question because they kept asking the same questions. So they asked him one time, here's my point about QAnon. They asked him, they said, what do you know about QAnon? Da, da, da. He said, I don't know anything about QAnon, right? But then he said, what? He said, I know that they're heavily against or they're strongly against pedophilia. He said, and I don't disagree with that. Meaning, of course, he know what the fuck QAnon is. He know all about that, but he also saying he don't know nothing about this infiltrated organization movement that you're trying to push me to be associated with to make it seem like we are some crazy, suicide cult Christians. This is what he was saying. That's trying to, bring down some devil. But then in the same breath, you could explain it and say, well, pedophilia is a major issue, and you know it's a major issue. So he said, I know they're against pedophilia. I don't disagree with that. Did you know that, though? No. CNN, they're not going to post that shit up and say Trump against pedophilia. They're not going to do none of that. They can't even associate it with, but you see Joe Biden rubbing up on the children, smelling their hair, talking about he liked when they would rub his legs, and all y'all say he's just a nice old man. He's trying. There's no threat. He's not associated with no pedophilia. His whole family get investigated for human trafficking. You don't say no. You say, oh, it's all good. Y'all just trying to take our attention away from Trump. Why? Because that's easy. Sleepy Joe as opposed to a trumpet. People would rather be asleep than to be awake and aware. Simple, ain't it? Because when that Trump get blown, it's like the alarm clock. A lot of people don't like getting awakened out of their sleep. People try to paint it like it's some pretty picture. You're just going to wake everybody up and everybody ride off into the sunset. No, a lot of times what people do, first of all, you do it. When that alarm go off, what most people do? They hit what? They hit the scissor song. They hit snooze. Are you with me? But why would they snooze? When all this shit is what? Too important. But they'll hit snooze. So what happens when you come in with that alarm, though, or that trumpet, and you, I'm like, man, fuck, you don't see me sleeping? The fuck is wrong with you? Get the fuck out of here, nigga. What the fuck? That's how people respond to you. That's how people respond to me. You feel what I'm saying? Because I walk around with a trumpet, and I say, that ain't that. No, that ain't that. No, they lying about that. No, that wasn't that. No, that ain't the real master teacher. No, that ain't that. These niggas is lying. Oh, no, that's all about money. Oh, that's a business. Oh, that's about sex. It's a motherfuckers. You say, nigga, you stop. Can you just stop? I was like, nigga, you got to get up. Matter of fact, didn't you tell me to wake up? Didn't your ancestors pray for this day, for revelation to come? Didn't you ask for this time period, for everything to be out in the open and for you to finally be able to see these things for what they are? Isn't that what the reality is that you were asking for? So now we come with the we come with the trumpet, and now boom, what happens? People don't want to wake up. So watch this. Trumpet. Simple. Sleepy Joe, Biden. And they make it sound into a joke, but then you realize, well, pay attention to the people who running behind Joseph and pay attention to the people who running behind Donald. That's all you got to do is say, look at all them people who running behind the Democrats and see what they standing on. They don't think none of the things that we talk about is an issue. They don't think the sexualization of the children is an issue. Why? Because that's what the fuck their president stands for. You know what I'm saying? They don't think none of it. And I don't run behind either one of them. You got to get this clear. I don't run behind Trump. I don't run behind Biden. You know what I'm saying? Neither one of them dictate how I'm going to maneuver. I'm just telling you that all I got to do is look at it, and I can say, okay, from these simple situations where you have the QAnon or QAnon, all right, you have this cannon or this ruler come up, and it pops out. You have Trump being associated with it. You had all the stuff that was happening with Biden, Harris, and all that. Okay, cool. This was around the time of what you call COVID. All right. And they wanted Trump to be the enemy. They wanted the person who was making all the noise and bringing everybody attention to what was going on. Literally, that's what he was doing. He said, this is their new hoax. He said it on record. He said, what about COVID? He said, this is their new hoax. And then they just came out with a video this year, and he said they're going to try it again. He said they're going to try to shut down the schools, and he said if they ever try to enforce mass mandates and all this other stuff, he said we're going to what? He said we're going to decrease and cut their federal funding and all that. This ain't somebody that seems like they in alignment with their plan. So then that's why they don't want you to fuck with him. Because anything he tells you, if you really pay attention to what he's saying and you start listening, when he was in the room and the people was like, Trump is racist. He said, listen, I'm the least racist person in here. Everybody said, see, that means he's racist. He's racist. You didn't pay attention. He was telling you all the motherfuckers that was in there is racist. He was telling you that and you still didn't get it. You like, see, that means he's racist. He's racist. He said, no, like, nigga, look, I'm the least, if anybody racist, I'm the least motherfucking racist in here. You understand? And then all of a sudden it's like, but then since when do Caucasoids give a fuck about who's racist? Caucasoids spend their life trying to prove that they're not racist. That's what they are. That's that whole, they don't ever, the worst fear for the blind Caucasoid who just wants to get along, Sally them, who just likes Thanksgiving like everybody else. You know what I mean? Might make her meatloaf, plant a garden, and just go to work and get a husband. And why did you cheat on me? And that's them type of people. All they really want to do is just not be racist. That's their worst fear is like, was that racist? Listen, my friend, they got black friends and stuff like that. They don't, when the fuck do Caucasoids go around calling people racist? You racist pig. And it's like, yo, that's how you know it's a game. Okay, so what does all this tie into? It still ties into the fact that if they wanted that person to be the enemy, if they wanted you to see that person as the hiccup in the system that you had to get rid of, and then as soon as Trump get out of office, you were supposed to be saved, and then 4 years done passed damn near, and ain't shit changed. As a matter of fact, a lot of things got worse with your economy, and you still ain't gonna say nothing about that. That's fine. But, okay, cool. So let's not deal with the politics at all, and let's just say that Trump was the bad man. Okay, he had to be gone. Okay, they got him out. But it wasn't enough to get him out. It wasn't enough to vote him out of office. Then they kept trying to lock his ass up. They kept trying to impeach him. They kept trying to give him time. You know how many times they done locked this man up? You know how many times? This is the first president in history to get impeached twice. Twice. The first batch of impeachments didn't work. They said order another. This is the first time in history, and nothing dawns on you yet. The first president in history that you got a mugshot, say this is his mugshot, and release it to the public, knowing that that's a private citizen. If you would have said it that way. And you gotta know Trump is private if you don't get what I'm saying. You gotta know that ain't no average citizen, no public citizen that just was raised up in the country somewhere. This nigga is private. He operates from the trust. So how the fuck does he have a mugshot on public record? As a matter of fact, if you were to go through the process right now to have yourself rendered to be private or sovereign, they would have to take all your mugshots off the web. They would have to, if you were to go through that process. And I've seen this personally. They had to take your shit down. You wouldn't even be able to find them pictures no more. So how the fuck do a real president, for one, he been a president. So once a president, always a president. Except with Trump, right? This is where you start paying attention. And he get a mugshot, everybody celebrate. Then they digitally assassinated him, everybody celebrated. Not even paying attention to the fact that what if this nigga got to come on and tell us that we under threat of siege or some shit or World War III or whatever? Before this nigga even get out of office, you deactivated his page. This is the person who has access to the nuclear codes. You don't get how powerful this man is? How could you for 1 second say that he shouldn't be able to communicate with the same people that he's put in charge of governing? Don't you get it? You still don't get it, do you? You say, these are just private companies. Instagram and these are just apps. You know they're not just apps. Because guess what? You're on here. This shit run people's life. People live in social media. All right? This is the Matrix. And they digitally assassinated him. And what did the idiots do? They celebrated. I say, you don't get what this means? If them people can do that to the president of the United States, what do you think they coming for next? If they can do that to him, what say you about you? What's going to happen to people who have no status, no elite status, no none of that? You're not private. You don't operate from outside of the jurisdiction or none of that. You're just right there in their world. And they can digitally assassinate a president and try to impeach him and get him locked up and persecute him and prosecute him and all this other. And then you still don't get what's happening. And he say, what did he do? What is he being charged with? He's being charged with saying they stole the election. And that makes sense to you. I want you to say it 3 times in a row. I want you to try that. I want you to say it 3 times in a row, feel how you feel about yourself. after you do that. And I hope you feel good about yourself. I don't think nobody should beat themselves down, so let's try it. The president of the United States is being impeached. They're trying to get him sentenced for saying that somebody stole the election. The president of the United States is being charged with a heinous crime. He said they stole the election. The president of the United States is being charged with a heinous crime that's going to go down in history. He exercised his constitutional right to say whatever the fuck he want to say under the freedom of speech. It's in the Constitution. Last time I read it, somewhere I read that we do have the freedom of speech, and this Trump president person did a heinous thing. How dare he ever, all right, go against the American way and say that somebody stole the election. So not only do we have to arrest him now, we got to lock everybody else up. We got to use RICO to get everybody else up. Rudy, all these niggas getting locked up too. Why? Because y'all niggas said we stole the election. And then y'all just all clapping along, say, finally, we got it. You don't get it. This is the stupidest show I've ever watched in my life. This like beats out the Truman Show. This shit is the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life. And I've been here only 25 years, but I done seen a lot of different types of shows. This is dumb. And people are glad. January 6th, I'm glad you said that. January 6th is a date. But if you say January 6th to the average person now, what happens? Their brain goes to black versus white, Capitol Hill. Yeehaw! They start seeing niggas running around, knocking shit over. It's just a date, but they already programmed you with that date. They said January 6th. They said Capitol Hill. And what Trump came out and said, he addressed that. But you don't know that because you weren't watching for his address unless the Shade Room posted it. What did he say? He said, he said, no true supporter of mine would have did any of that. He said, no true supporter of mine is going to damage property. Now, let me tell you something. All right? Motherfuckers be lying about all kind of shit. One thing I do know about them Trump supporters, them real patriot niggas, they give a fuck about property. They not trying to damage no property. If you push over a statue, they gonna go pick it up and dust it off. They are, they just a different group of people. They real patriots. They care about their country. They know their laws. They know the Constitution. How do I know? Not because I Googled them, because when they had the Trump rallies in Atlanta, I went and attended. And when I went out there, them niggas was handing me pamphlets of information, teaching about the 12th Amendment, the electoral vote, and discussing all the different ways that the different pedophile rings have been shut down already and what a military coup is. And, they out there educating each other, standing in circles, having powwows about education. Let the news tell it. They would have probably got a whole bunch of edits and angles of somebody throwing some shit away over here and somebody lighting some shit on fire over here and da-da-da-da-da and trumped it all up and put it on the news. And then somebody who was there like, that nigga was just throwing some shit in the trash. Another person like, that nigga was just lighting a cigarette. But they'll put it up to say that they trying to destroy Atlanta. Everybody who not from here, they'll believe it. And people in Atlanta are so lazy, they ain't gonna get up to go downtown to see if they're really doing that. But I was out there, and it wasn't just Caucasian people. Let's get that clear. There were a lot of people who looked just like the nigga on the screen, looked just like myself, melanin dominant people. There were Asian people. And guess who else was out there? Hispanic people, where you will swear that all Latinos, all the Hispanic people, all the so-called Mexican people, whatever you want to call, you will swear that they are against Trump because didn't Trump call them racist? Didn't Trump call them rapists? No, he didn't call Mexican people rapists. He was speaking about a very specific group of people who are a Mexican gang, right? Who, if you know anything about them niggas, they will tell you what the fuck they do. They will tell you that one of their biggest goals in life was to be the most ruthless gang recorded in history. And a part of what they did was rape women. That's one of the things that they did. And if you don't know what I'm talking about the MS-13. So when he spoke on them, guess what the news say? He said, it's all Mexicans. He wasn't talking about Mexicans. He was talking about the MS-13. Right now, if I mention a gang that just so happen to be melanin dominant people, if I talk about what the fuck they do, that don't mean that all melanin dominant people do that. But that just so happen to be their orientation. If I'm lying, go make me a liar. But what you'll find is you'll only make me a truth teller. Because he was saying, it wasn't even just the MS-13. It was also that there were people who were coming in across the border who a lot of women were experiencing that. A lot of the Mexican or Hispanic women or Latino women were experiencing the rapes and the sexual assaults and all kind of stuff when they get stuck in between limbo or in that limbo world. And they documented all of this. So he was coming in on their behalf. You feel what I'm saying? Even when they try to speak about the cages, where he said, who built the cages? Now, I'm not telling nobody I'm not telling nobody to vote for Trump, none of that. I just wanted to make a point. The point is that with all the QAnon stuff being associated with Trump and they trying to make him seem like he was this bad man, this racist man, everything they could, a bigot. He said something about, that's why I was so taken aback by the melanin dominant group of people who act like they were so shook about Trump saying grab him by the pussy. I'm like, have you ever heard a rap record? Because they say worse shit, way worse shit than that. And he wasn't the president when he said that shit. You really should have been asking yourself, how the fuck they get that? Because he was on a bus having a conversation with a nigga on the way somewhere. And they got that recording. Say either somebody was wearing a wire. What the fuck? How the fuck did they even get that on record? He never went on to no public site and said that shit. He was talking to somebody, having a conversation. And they recorded him saying it. And then it still is like, bro, there's no way that you're going to say that that's your deal breaker. When I know your playlist, I know your playlist got way worse shit than that. And you celebrate these people, put them on your wall, wear shirts with them, go to their concerts and all of that. You understand? Don't tell me that they don't have significance because all these artists do. As a matter of fact, artists are more influential than the president is. So don't tell me that you were more like excited and amped and eager to have Donald Trump impeached and arrested and removed, and the people that's in our communities that are still these rappers, okay, these criminals that are in our communities and they organizations and all the shit they've been doing, when they got arrested or when they got locked up, you said we got to free them. But for the president who was coming out, making sure the niggas was knowing what was going on, trying to tell you what was happening with Iraq, told you we should have never been there, there were no weapons of mass destruction, said we need to end all of these wars, we need to make sure these people got money over here, da-da-da-da. That nigga who made the orders, talk about the multi-billion-dollar plan, the people's plan or the platinum plan, all that, him, the nigga who was saying he for the people, he's not no politician, he's a businessman, he's not in it for the politics, da-da-da-da, he don't care nothing about that, we're gonna drain the swamp, we're gonna make sure all the shit cleared up. Him, he gets locked up, you celebrate. The devil's in our community, all these people, they say freedom, we gotta get them out, they're trying to oppress black people. Y'all confuse me sometimes. You feel what I'm saying? So the reason why I knew or could peep game on, or they not finished with COVID. Why? Because Trump was saying that he was gonna run again. So they need to. That was the only one. Who else can run against? Who else can really run against Biden? Or that? Who else is there really that can do something? All right. There's nobody that's really in it, and that's why he was saying ain't nobody really that can run against him. They're not powerful enough. All the people who had the power, they ran out. Everybody who was related to somebody, all the way up to Bill, not to Bill Gates, to Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, Obama, all the people who was related to each other, that shit ran out. That shit ran out. So you don't get it? Look, somebody said Trump is still president. Let me ask you a question. Who you feel is more president right now? Joe Biden or Donald Trump? Just think about what I'm saying. Just think about it. You got to really think about it. I'm not telling you got to choose nothing. I'm just saying just think about what I'm asking. Who you feel like is really a president at this moment? Joe Biden or Trump? Just think. Do Trump just get on the news and talk, you know what I'm saying, like somebody who used to have a job and he's looking for another one? Has this nigga put up any poster to say he's looking for work? And no. That nigga, it's like they fired him and he still just keeps showing up and doing the job. He ain't even getting paid. And he's still showing up for work. And y'all still don't get it? I know people still trying to figure out, like, didn't we arrest him 3 times already? No, all of these is games. How you book a nigga for 20 minutes? You know what I'm saying? How you make bail in 20 minutes? All this is a game. And what Trump saying? You want to play games, motherfucker? All right, I'll play. That's what he basically explaining. The nigga got booked down the street from me. I walk up and say, what are they doing? They booking the president. Oh, word, okay, cool. Nigga was down the street from the Magruders. Nigga that went nowhere. Trump went nowhere. We were down the street, like literally. Nigga rolled past. Oh, there go Trump. What's going on? Yeah. Boom. And then it's like, you got it. Like they still don't get it. They don't even know how the melanin dominant people mind work. They just trying to act like they do. But like, that's stupid because first of all, you lock this nigga up. You ain't gonna do shit but make this nigga a fucking legend. They gonna be like, oh, I fuck with Trump. He got locked up. I know, we backwards. But as soon as the nigga get locked up, it's like, oh, you a real nigga now. He did time. He did 20 minutes, but shit. All he got to do is not put that minutes on there and motherfucker gonna fuck with him for life. Nigga, I did 20. I did 20. Oh, nigga gonna be like, oh shit, he a real nigga. Shit. 20 minutes, 20 seconds, whatever the fuck he did as a president that got locked up in Atlanta. You backfired. Backfire. It's like, it's worse. It could have been Mississippi. You could have locked him up anyway. We didn't give a fuck. But you locked the nigga up in the hood? Oh, yeah. Atlanta is voting for Trump. I'm just letting y'all know that. Them niggas is going to vote for that nigga. Watch. All right. Listen, nobody listens to me until some shit happened and it's like, I come back on here. Didn't I tell y'all? Listen, Atlanta is going red. I'm telling you, them folks is voting Republican. Listen, everybody gonna be in a line with shades on and hoodie. Everybody gonna want to be seen by each other, but everybody gonna be in a line looking like they up to some shit. You know what I mean? Are you guys good? You know what I'm saying? Are you find everything okay in here? Yeah. You find everything all right? Yeah. Them niggas is voting. Listen, y'all think I'm playing. Them niggas is voting for Trump. Watch. You're going to see more skits coming out around election year, around election time, around like, August, September, November. Around that time, there's going to be a lot of skits that be done came out about, how Trump, the nigga who put niggas on to the money. Nigga going to be like, wait a minute now. Because one thing about hood niggas, y'all think they dumb and they not. One thing about hood niggas, especially them young niggas, you think we're dumb and we're not. I think we're showing that every day by now. You think the hood niggas is out of touch and we don't know what's going on. We know more than you. We know more. We more in tune. As a matter of fact, let me tell you how in tune we are. If you was in a situation where a nigga finna rob a bank, a hood nigga gonna get the fuck up out of there before it happen. It's gonna be your dumb ass with your master's and your associate's degree laying out on the fucking ground, emptying your pockets. Cause we know, hold on. Oh, nah, something ain't right. Hell nah, hold on. Oh, nah, they on one. Hey, we finna, hey. You know what I'm saying? And we'll leave before the shit happen. Or we'll know if a nigga gonna do some shady shit before they do the shady shit. We'll peep game. So you think we dumb, we not dumb. Sometimes we just don't give a fuck. That's our only thing is sometimes niggas just don't be giving a fuck. But I mean, if you tell niggas to give a fuck, they can. If you say give a fuck about politics for a hot second, just a hot second, you can, but you think they dumb. So you do dumb shit. Like you hire Saucy Santana to come out with a song talking about some no voting, no fucking. And it's like, who are you marketing it to? Now, it's Atlanta. So you might have been on point with that one. My point is still, though, who you really marketing that to? Because, like, how dumb do you think niggas is? We like, bro, what the fuck? Who they talking to? You feel what I'm saying? We're not stupid. We know what's going on. I bet you. That's why I'm telling you. And I'm going to have to be cautious. But I bet you, if I go and say, hey, y'all, let me tell y'all who we gonna vote for. Man, this whole city will be on where I tell niggas and we'll do it. And I'll explain to them why they ain't gonna do it just based off of moral law. But I understand moral law. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I get on there and say, hey, y'all, hey, we ain't doing that. Hell no, we going this direction. And trust and believe, every big Atlanta artist, all the people gonna wind up getting on that shit. That's where we gonna go. You feel me? So it's like, stop thinking niggas is dumb just because we don't care about none of the little shit other people be talking about and caring about. No, we in tune. They're not stupid. They paid attention to how much was changing when Trump was in office. They paid attention to that. And all the stats that you can throw out don't do nothing for the hood because we see it from a different eye. We see it from a different atmosphere, literally a different view. You understand? Because we saw less violence in our hood when Trump was in office. We saw less murders in our hood when Trump was in office. We saw less robberies in our hood when Trump was in office. We saw more people with money. We saw more people getting along. We saw more people caring about each other. It was a more sunny environment, all right, from the years 2018, 2019, all right? And then when the COVID shit hit and he was throwing up all that money into the hood and all this stuff, 2020, we saw more people getting along. You can't tell us shit because you ain't out here with us. You don't know what we see. So you can't tell us shit. All them stats don't mean anything. We don't give a fuck about no. Listen, all we see is gas prices higher than a motherfucker. That's all we see. We saw one time he let somebody hack the gas line. I don't know how the fuck you did that when you got a whole computer in the office. Like, it's like all we see is the shit that's really affecting niggas. You feel what I'm saying? We like, well, when is this shit gonna change? When is shit gonna end? You feel what I'm saying? So it got worse. But then we remember, and I'll remind niggas, Trump said them folk gonna do this. He said, nigga gonna destroy your economy. It's like, think about it. Just think about these questions real quick. And then I'll get off the Trump shit so you don't think this is a Trump campaign. Because really, in all actuality, what you're going to find is I'm going to tell people to vote for God. That's a whole different game. It's going to be ran. And it don't have nothing to do with that. And I actually gave you a little hint of that, a glimpse of that, when I came out with the song God for President. It's on the Blood of the Lamb album. So don't think I'm going to be talking about some Trump, other than the fact that the Trump has been blown. And when the last Trump was blown, we told you what was going to happen. What? That everybody had to be changed. There was going to be an alteration that was going to take place. The last Trump has been blown. All right. Now, everybody ain't going to what? Sleep. I don't think you hear me. Everybody ain't going to go through sleepy. All right. But we will all be changed. It's right there in Corinthians. You'll find it if you pay attention. You feel what I'm saying? Now, let me ask you a question. Who you'll let watch your children if you had to choose? Joe Biden or Trump? Joe Biden or Trump? Just ask this a question. I want you to think about it to yourself. You don't got to lie to me. You don't got to lie, Craig. Who you'll let watch your children? Joe Biden or Trump? All right, there go one. All right, so who you let drive your car? Joe Biden or Trump? Who will you let park your car? Like if it was a valet type situation. Who would you hand the keys to if you saw them two niggas out there? Joe Biden or Trump? Huh? Who would you let sign your name for you if you was locked up and you really need somebody to sign some shit for you? All right, to forge your signature. Who would you tell to do it? Joe Biden or Trump? Huh? I'm just asking the question. All right. Who would you let write your autobiography? Excuse me, who would you let write your biography? Biden or Trump? I'm just throwing these things out here. Okay, who the fuck would you let run your whole fucking country? All right, let's try it again. One more. And I mean this one from the bottom of my heart. Who would you rather have the nuke codes? Like, don't this nigga look like he will drop a nuke code? Don't you look like he'll accidentally, like, tweet it or some shit? Don't he look like, do Biden not look like he the nigga who will drop a whole fucking button? You know what I'm saying? Like, they just handed him the shit, say, be careful with that. And he dropped the shit, and then it's like, the sirens go off. Huh? Who would you trust to run up your stairs? I'm just throwing out stuff. You don't gotta believe or listen to me or none of that. I'm just saying, if you had to bet on a nigga running up some stairs and getting up there, you ever saw a nigga fall up some stairs? We used to make niggas say, nigga, if I fall up the stairs, remember we used to make little jokes and sayings about that? This nigga will fall up some stairs. This nigga Biden did it. He did it. And he kept going to it. It went like he's failing. Oh shit. All right, let me slow down. Nigga got over there. Why are you running? Why are you running? Who was in this man earpiece said, now jog? Remember what we talked about? Do the jog. Nobody. The nigga got on a bike, y'all, and fell. They didn't program his feet to do the little shit. You know, the left, right? The left, right? It's like, and Trump said, yo, Biden, half the time he don't even know where he at. He said Biden doesn't know he's alive. Y'all don't be getting it, bro. Trump don't got sense. I don't got sense. It seems like all the niggas who don't got sense, we be on point. It be the throwed off motherfuckers who might need to listen to a little bit. We be throwed off. I ain't gonna lie. I am thrown completely off. I don't know how it happened. It's just what it is. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm running so fast, it's like I'm not even moving. I know I'm thrown. But at the same time, do I be making sense? Because I don't have con man sense. What you call common sense. I don't have con man sense. I wasn't raised to be no con man. You know what I'm saying? So look, I can sense a con man though. And I can tell you what the games is. All right, so we're going to run this back. But I just want to let you know the reason why I was able to call it like that is because, look, they ain't done. The game ain't over with. They got too much to lose. You feel what I'm saying? They trying to hold on with everything they got. So he said, there's no way they would put all this effort into, something that ain't real. No, that's how they always did it. And what you think is a lot of effort for the elite ain't a lot of effort for them. What you think is a lot of money for the elite ain't a lot of money. How much money is, listen, let's say, let me put this to you for you to think about. If all you had to do, all right, to reset your bank or to flood your bank with something or to put something in escrow or whatever, if all you had to do was just type in some numbers, all right, what number is too big for you to type? Think about what I'm really saying. If I say, look, I need $10 million, can you send it to me? And all you had to do is type in 10, comma, 000, comma, 000. Was that too much for you to do? Was that too much? And then type send, hit send, boom. And now I got $10 million. How much money is too much money for motherfuckers who can print it? How much money is too much money for motherfuckers who now, because of the fact that we're going into a digital world, all right, they're not even focused on printing so much anymore. They focus on which type of, let's say, Fed now. You know what I'm saying? The federal now, a new version of the federal agency coming in, or the Federal Reserve, as you call it, coming in. They say what? They don't give a fuck about cash. We're going into cashless society. That's why in the song that the brother Good News Bass and myself did, all right, in the song, I spoke about that. I said cashless society. It's all a part of the game. Because at that point, it's like, oh, they can shut anything down. Nigga, multi-billionaire tomorrow. All right. Next day after that, he done went back down to asking, you know what I'm saying? Do you got $5? How'd that happen? Well, shit, I said niggas need to vote for Trump. The next thing I know I'm broke. Yeah, exactly. Because they can do that. Kill switch. It's real quick. You feel what I'm saying? What I say? Let's see. The first line, listen to the sound of the bank falling. I'm telling you, listen to the sound of the bank falling, Twin Towers, Osama bin Laden. All right, hear me. Jesus on the main line, but I asked how you been lately and you still can't call it. Jesus on the main line, but I asked how you been lately and you still can't call it. You understand? They got you hemmed up in this ghost spell world and you still get, but Jesus on the main line, right? But if I ask how you been lately, meaning what's been really going on, you still can't call it. Meaning you're not awake or aware on that point where you would say Jesus was at or Christ was at, and you still can't call it and see what all it is about. When you think I'm saying the bank, you think I'm only saying the bank as in the building? Or are you paying attention to I'm speaking about the land itself? Because the bank is where the river connects. All right? What's the river bank? You with me? Then I said what? The Twin Towers and Osama bin Laden, which was a whole different facade. You feel me? If you really hear me. A cashless society, a grip for a token, you know they gonna barter and trade. A cashless society, a grip for a token, you know they gonna barter and trade. Because remember I said Jesus on the main line, but I asked how you been lately and you still can't call it. If somebody say I can't call it, meaning you don't know the answer, right? Or you don't have an answer. Yo, how you been? I can't call it. You feel what I'm saying? You can call it, but only if you have the number, right? So when I say cashless society, a grip for a token, you know they're going to barter and trade. A grip for a token is what? Masonic. It's a handshake, all right, that you give to another brother, all right, to say, yo, I see you. Let's get this grip. Let's do this token. Let's make this sign, all right? But that sign is hidden, and people don't know about it. A lot of times they'll cover up the handshake literally to say there's a concealment taking place of that token or that sign, all right, or that oath, okay? That's why I say go read the book, Hidden Dangers, listen, of the Rainbow, all right, where they literally speak about, and go make me a truth teller, the cashless society, right? Main line, but I asked how you been lately and you still can't call it cashless society. A grip for a token, you know they gon' barter and trade. Everybody fed now, Angel Smith loading up, they all on the way. Beats coming over yonder in the heart of the place. Brown skin never miss it if you kick it the ball and you still fall on your face. Or you fall on your back and you Charlie away. And you call on the father, but father is father rather than anticipated. And all you can say is, well, father still go for it. We need money to survive and we all in the race. On your mark, get set, go. It was a setup from the go. Remember that mark that you take, they want control of your soul. It's the mark of the beast, separate the sheep from the goats. I'm speaking in code, and it's free to the code like cryptocurrency. Story in my legend. America not hurting me, we gon' be rich forever. The government be scheming, they wanna regulate all of the paper, but they ain't fooling nobody. They be getting by you, they niggas stay in power. But fuck, if we see the police back up, it is one to keep tabs on everything your brother do. They need to go between the auto to control the grade. They wanna lock us all in the cage and cuff. We be in the streets, deep back again. Righteous. So again, they're not finished. My whole point of doing that whole breakdown, all of that is